I'd love to know from both of you, with living and raising a family there and your business experiences and your ecclesiastical experiences, what did they teach you?
The interesting thing is that in the law practice that was dealing mostly with people that were really quite successful, there was a group of people who had education and economics largely as their goal. San Francisco, over time, became an area where we had a lot of language units. At one point, when I was a counselor, I served as counselor for 10 years and then as stake president for 5 years after that. At one time, we had a Samoan language unit, 2 Tongan language units, 2 Spanish language units, a Tagalog Filipino language unit, and a Mandarin Chinese language unit. So this immense diversity. Now, many of them were successful, but most of them were really poor. And but their lives were so enriched by the gospel of Jesus Christ, and they were such wonderful people. And to spend time in a church calling with these wonderful people. I can remember attending a tithing settlement because the bishop's mother had died, and the First Presidency let me do it, even though I was the stake president. And I watched these wonderful Spanish members of that ward. Most of them were from Central America, come in and pay small amounts of tithing, but they had receipts for everything, and they were so serious about the gospel and bear their testimony. And you learn that what people do for a job and how much money they make are just irrelevant, and I'm sure it's irrelevant to the Lord. I mean, we got to be independent. We've got a lot of principles, but and we need to have unity with our diversity. We've got to be unified as people. We've got to love one another. We've got to treat each other as sons and daughters of God.
I think the cultural diversity was interesting, and it taught us a great deal. It was wonderful to live in the mission field. Growing up in Utah, you don't think of it as the mission field, although it is. But to go to California and be with so many different faiths, so many different concepts, was a very enriching part of our experience. But it was wonderful, looking at it from a church and religious point, to realize that if we have the culture of the gospel of Jesus Christ, it overcomes all the other cultural differences. And that was a wonderful thing to see. But when we had experience in the schools that our children attended, we found a lot of good people who had other faiths, but our children learned to find the best and the brightest to associate with that encouraged them and didn't detract from them, but they found goodness.
Wholesome friends.
Wholesome friends. And that was a blessing. And we learned early on to get along with people of other faiths and different cultures. I think that blessed our family.
And with people of completely different points of view about life.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Different frames of reference. Would that be fair to say?
That's fair to say. Yeah. But good people. You know, I think the light of Christ really does reflect in a lot more lives than we realize. And I think as Latter-day Saints, we should never assume that people who don't share our faith are not good people. There's just an enormous number of good people in this world.